Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo Artisans, Cowboy here, and we're going to take a look at the charts today. Before we get started, go ahead and take a look in the description. I've got a special treat for you in there. There's a link. It is a free algorithm. It's a trading algo. You get to see me build it right on YouTube. You get to see me turn it into code with Grok AI. You could always use a different AI. And I also show you the tools that traders use to connect their algo to the internet so it can trade for them while they're not even at the computer. This has to be done once the algo is optimized. It is not plug and play, but it's darn close. In the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about the charts. We're going to take a look today at the NASDAQ, USDJPY, EURUSD, Bitcoin, GBPJPY, gold, and silver. Before we do that, we're going to take a look at the data that's coming out, the economic data that could affect those charts over at forexfactory.com. Now, I did get this video out a day later. It's just as well because the Japanese yen did some pretty surprising stuff. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but let's start with tomorrow's news. 8:30 a.m. EST on Wednesday. We have some employment data coming out, hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and the unemployment rate. That's for the dollar. European Open, 2 a.m. EST. We have the British GDP month over month, 8:30 a.m. on Thursday. We have the U.S. unemployment claims. Friday at 2:30 a.m. EST is the Swiss CPI month over month, and it's going to be a big day on Friday, 8:30 a.m. for the U.S. dollar. The core CPI comes out that day. Now, what's big in the news is going to be related to the Japanese yen. We're going to talk about that in just a minute as we get over to the Japanese yen, but understand that it happened on Sunday, snap elections, and it's going to add strength to the Japanese yen, and it might add a lot of weakness to other currencies, right? So we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Just wanted to set that for you so you have that in mind as we look at the charts, and we'll start with the NASDAQ. So here is the NASDAQ looking pretty steady. I actually drew this one yesterday, and it's more or less going along with the plan. I don't expect a ton out of the NASDAQ. They do have to keep markets high. Now, with this new sort of business with the Japanese yen that we're about to talk about in a minute, it may be that the dollar gets weak and we see inflation, and that will actually help assets rise. But the algos, for the moment, say the price will continue sideways. The only fly in the ointment is Friday, right as that CPI data comes out. And if that CPI data is showing less inflation, then prices might actually climb because there'll be an expected rate cut as the result of that. But in the meantime, I just expect sideways prices. You do have some upper and lower bounds to look at. 26,000 is an upper bound. I don't think we'll see it this week unless they decide to push the price up, and very often market makers do that with the NASDAQ. The local lower bound is 25K, actually 24,950, and that's just right down here. Price might bounce off that. It's possible. I'm not going to draw it in there. I don't think it's going to happen. And the much lower bound is at 24,234, way down in this area, which would happen if price has an unexpected bearish move. Now, there's always that chance right now we could see another strong move down like we saw last week in the NASDAQ. It's not in the algos right now, so I'm not going to draw it. That's always there, and there's a special fundamental case for that. But as it stands right now, the algos say sideways. Let's take a look at USDJPY. Now you'll notice that there is a big move down here. And as a matter of fact, I called this move right here last week, knowing that the elections, the snap elections, were going to happen on Sunday. And to make this a very simple story, Prime Minister Takaichi's party has a supermajority. And the thought is that they may protect their currency, which means they may hike the rates on the Japanese yen, which is making the Japanese yen strong, which is pushing the USDJPY in this case down, right? USD being the dollar, Japanese yen gets stronger, the dollar goes down compared to the yen. And I think it's going to continue to do so. Strong move this morning. I took a trade live actually on YouTube this morning for everybody to see, and we did win that trade today. I do think price will rebound a little bit, but probably continue to head down. You do have a lower bound at 152.07 yen to the dollar. There's a local resistance sort of upper bound that's around 155.51 yen. I don't think we're going to see this higher upper bound, so I'm not even really going to talk about it. I do think price might possibly get some liquidity up there, but I don't think it's really going to rise too much. I think it's just a little hop up and a move down. Let's take a look at the euro. Money piling into the euro, big move up. I do think it's going to continue up, and I drew this yesterday, and it's just going almost exactly to plan. It may go up and to the right or just a little to the right. It might just slide to the right and even possibly kind of slide down. This was a rather strong move, but the algos do have a little bullishness hinting on the back end, so that's why I have both these predictions. The data coming out in the next few days could push price up. That is possible. The higher time frame is bullish. We always have to account for a possible hard move up as the Europeans are panicking into their own currency to buttress their economy for what is coming, especially with Japanese yen, so on and so forth. Also, there's been talk of Europe reindustrializing to basically build a war machine. Now, I don't think they'll be able to pull that off, but they might put together industry and use that as a cover, which might actually mean that more money is going to go into their currency to make that happen, which we could see it shoot up for that reason. In the meantime, the algos have what you see on the screen as a prediction. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin pretty bearish. I think we're just going to see sliding to the right and down. Always a chance it could pop up. And I will tell you, if price can get above this 74,000 bound right here and stay above there for a week, you might actually have quite a strong move up. As it stands right now, I don't see it happening. I think we're going to get sideways and slightly down for the rest of the week, maybe even a hard move down. I do believe that Bitcoin has a very high probability of being at the end of its 4-year cycle. 26,000 was the high. It tends to fall about 80% after the high, which would take it down to the mid 20,000 range. Long way to fall if that's going to happen this time around. Remember, it's a pretty new asset and asset class. So we don't want to hold too much weight on what's happened in the past, but all of the halving cycles, top to bottom, in the last 12 years have all gone down about 80% after that happened. So there's really no reason why it shouldn't happen this time. But again, not a lot of data points to look at. For now, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of bearishness, lower bound at 60,000 on the dot. If we do see a panic down, the next level down is at about 50,000. Actually, it's 52,000. So we could see that for the weeks out if we do see a strong move down, and Bitcoin is known for doing strong moves in lots of directions. Let's take a look at GBPJPY. Okay, so GBPJPY looking bearish. The Japanese yen has gotten stronger, so it's the same story as with the USDJPY, and it's going to head down. The lower bound currently is at 209.58 yen. So the British pound might simply just head down there. I think it's going to go sideways a bit, maybe grab liquidity off this 211.58 area and then head down, but I don't expect much bullishness right now for the same reason that we just talked about. Dakaishi supermajority protecting currency most likely. Let's take a look at gold. Metals do look like they're more or less back. We're going to see. We saw a low and then gold actually stepped up. So when gold fell, it fell all the way down to about 4,400, made its way all the way back to 5,000, jumped off 4,650, and now it's flirting with 5,000 again. In fact, it's actually above 5,000. It's at 5,040. I do expect gold to continue sideways and possibly break above that this week, and probably not take too much longer before we see new highs once again, perhaps next week in gold. Let's take a brief look at silver. Similar story, but they were playing games over at the CME. So long story short, they were using paper games to artificially push silver down, right? So silver actually had a lower low where gold had a higher low. Silver made its way all the way down to 64. It is now holding at 81, and it's just going sideways. It's got bullishness and it's strong. So provided there are no games being played over at the COMEX or anywhere else, silver should approach 92 once again by the end of the week, possibly break above depending on the events, especially on Fridays, the CPI hits. So the upper bound right now, again, is about $92. Price is either going to knock its head on that, go above that. That's if it can make it up there. We might just see it go sideways. We're going to see how it goes this week. But, well, let's just say we have a little bit of inside word. No such thing as insider trading on gold. Gold's a commodity. You just know whether people are buying or not. And over at Algo Factory, we know whether people are buying or not. We have somebody, via the Gorilla, who knows exactly what's going on with precious metals because he's in the business. And I can tell you, people are very interested in precious metals right now. So I do expect price to head up. Could it head down? Of course, possible. Anything is possible. But what we do here at Algo Factory is we use the data we have and we use the charts to predict where price is going to go and when it's going to get there. And we help our traders develop a probabilistic model so that they can extract money from these markets on a regular basis. It's not rocket science. I could teach just about anybody how to do it as long as you have roughly a high school education or better. And if you want to see sort of a sneak preview, go to the description, click the link, get the free algo. You see the video. I make an algo, right? Theoretically, it could be profitable. You have to optimize it before you use it, before you plug it into your computer to trade for you. Now, how do you do that? I'll show you in the video. Show you how to build it, how to turn it into code, and how traders plug it into the broker so it can trade without them being at the computer, whether they're golfing or sleeping or whatever else you do. So in the meantime, come on over to algofactory.tech. Also, don't forget, like, subscribe. A huge percentage of people who watch these videos don't do that, and they watch them every week. So like, subscribe, send it to your friends. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be back as we always are to do our live show. So we had a nice winning trade on the live show for everybody to see, including YouTube. This morning, We may have some more this week.
Thank you for watching.
We'll see you bright and early, 8:30 a.m. EST on YouTube.